The power to change, universal law of surrender. I am Athena. I am the spirit of the goddess embodied in all women and men of earth. I have a message to impart to you today. Now you are undergoing a process of change, and many are finding it difficult. Some have already undertaken the necessary changes, and these are the leaders of the pack, if you wish, who signal the way for others to follow them. Some are straggling behind. Why is change so difficult for them? Being able to change is an act of God. Yes, God. As it is said, you belong to God by default, simply because you are a human, a being of godliness, a part of God's expression. So it is He that must be called upon when change is difficult. He can help you through as He does in all other aspects of your life. It is not your willpower that must be called upon when change is required. Willpower is an act of the ego, and the ego is willful. The ego is also heavily compromised by the dark forces. The powers you must overcome are the mind control powers that have been keeping humanity back for many hundreds of years. These powers become more cunning and more insidious the more your society develops its technologies and methods of communication. Because it is in communication that they have their way with you. Well, it is in communication that you can allow God to have His with you as well. Jesus, the Master, came to show you the way. He showed you who you could be, He showed you what was possible, He showed you how you should be and who it is you must take into your life always, and that is God. You run on God's power, and it is He who should be consulted to make your life easier first. God, is this what you would have me do? Is it your will? This is the universal law of surrender, where the individual surrenders his will to the whole of the God. Why does this never work for you? How come you cannot figure it out? Because you have not called God in to help you. He stands waiting to assist you, but He needs you to surrender your will to His. It is an act of compassion by you for yourself when you stand aside and allow the One to lead you. If you cannot have compassion for yourself, if you are hard-nosed and strong-willed, never giving in to a moment of gentleness, or if you are strong-willed, never giving yourself any credit for what you have achieved but only driving yourself harder to achieve and to acquire, you are not a compassionate person. Compassion for the self and others comes from allowing yourself to understand the nature of humanity, that nature is one of being vulnerable and gentle. If you cannot do this, you will have a hard time creating change with God. You will only carry on trying to change through your will, which may or may not be the correct path. Stop. Stand still. Look back at what you have accomplished. Have you been running around in circles, chasing your tail, or have you actually accomplished something from your efforts? Have you aligned with truth, which is God, in your efforts, or have you aligned with the lies that are being fed to you always? Have your efforts been subverted by evil forces, or have your efforts paid out by aligning with truth? Look back and see what worked for you and what did not. Your times of success were times when you aligned with the truth, and the truth is God. Surrender to the truth now. It is the only way for humanity. It is the only path now. We realize that a lot is being asked of you now, people of Earth. We realize that you have lived lives of lies, of falsehoods, and now we are asking you to align with the truth. To be able to find it is a huge task for many, and the easiest way to do so is to ask for help. If you cannot ask for help and you insist on going it alone, you may be led astray. You are being retrained. As a people, you are now given the test of your lifetimes. Find the truth in a melting pot of lies. Find the light that shines for you as a beacon in the dark night time. Find that light, stay with it and trust it. Nobody on earth now is perfect. You are still a mix of lies and truth, all of you are. Even the way you live daily is a melting pot of lies, so much has been taken from you and replaced with falseness. The human does not live as you do. There is no expectation of grief, no expectation of lack, there is no expectation of suffering on a daily basis as many of you are now. There is always an expectation of compassion, the compassion of God, the love of God, the truth, and the joy of being alive. You are nowhere near this now. Many of you do not truly know who you are. Some are beginning to learn. You do not know your true history, this is only being found out in small parcels. The love of others is a given, and relationships are enjoyed immensely. There is no expectation of unhappiness in the company of others, it is always a joy to be in another's company. Do you live like this? No? Well, it is because God has been forsaken on earth. God was replaced by evil, and so many of you have fallen for all of its tricks. These untruths are being revealed, slowly, so that you can acclimate to the truth of life on earth. This process will continue for hundreds of years. There is much to reverse in your thinking, It will take many lifetimes for some. Yes, wow. Says Sharon. Wow. But the good side is that it is all for the betterment of all humans on Earth. Now is your time. It will be your golden age, the time of new life and new love for all upon Earth. God will reign again as your king, as he once did in what you call antiquity. So be it. Your time to change has come. I am Athena. I loved your world once and now I have returned.